Anywho, now to get
Speaking of
to
train wrecks.
yes, speaking of train wrecks,
Oh
Yeah.
God.
let's talk about Star Wars Holiday Special, right? Like I said before, this is going to be the traditional retrospect review. I'm not going to torture you guys for too long, so I'm going to move as fast as I can, right? But quick intro to this, right? So I didn't even know that the special existed till like about I can't remember. I think it was like probably in the 2000s or whatnot before
Right.
42nd prequel came out, right? Attack of the Clones. I was hearing this thing about this holiday special, this infamous holiday special, right? By
Right.
the time I didn't, well, I mean, like I wasn't that big on YouTube, so I didn't like go up to see if this thing existed or went on Wikipedia and whatnot. So I was just like, okay, that's just a thing, you know what I mean? Whatever. And then like over the years, I started learning about about the film existence and how many fans hated it now. When we did our collab, that would be me, Ricardo, and CC with our first Star Wars special. That was for the Force Awakens. We mentioned all the other films prior to and we talked about. Well, you mentioned
Oh yeah.
holiday special,
Yeah.
and I believe
And
I
the
brought up this
Ewok
paragraph
movies.
in here. Yeah, that I just never bothered to watch it because I saw clips of it, I saw images, and it just looked like the worst. It's almost like the bargain basement 70s psychedelic sci-fi films. You know what I mean? The ones that people kind of laugh at. Like
Yeah.
like you think we were kind of done with stuff like Zardoz and Logan's Run, and it was like that approach applied to something as over the top and big budget and epic
Well,
as Star Wars. So I was like,
yeah.
no, I don't want to touch that with a with a 5 foot pole now. And then, well, with the release of the Lego Star Wars Holiday Special, I was like, oh,
You
okay,
had
so
to.
they had to, yeah, this is the franchise basically
Oh
redeemed itself.
man.
But I was curious to see how they were gonna reference this particular movie. Cause yeah, this is actually a movie, yeah. So yeah, I sucked it up. I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan, so you know that one time. I know every single big Star Wars fan suffered through this already. I was like, all right,
Rite
YOLO.
of passage.
Exactly right up
Did.
past it. So I was like,
Right.
YOLO, went in, watched this, and just getting this out to the way, guys. This is one of the worst experiences like ever. Dude. This is like one of the most painful experiences ever. What got me right? Well, at this point, you guys to share all the individual thoughts, and then before I run through the story,
Yeah.
is that like I said before, it just feels like the worst aspects of circa 70s psychedelic sci-fi thrown into this film, and
Right.
it makes it even more. It makes it look cheap. It makes it unnecessarily bizarre, and just from a storytelling perspective, a narrative perspective, even just in terms of enjoyment, there's nothing in this. There's this
No.
absolutely nothing, and I'm just baffled as to how this was even greenlit in the first place. I know you'll have to go and research everything involving George Lucas and his famous speech where quote where he says, if I could find every copy of this,
And
I will
pull it.
smash it with a sledgehammer.
Right.
But yeah, boy, I was just in utter disbelief at how this movie even exists. But yes, see, thoughts on the Star Wars Halloween special.
So what the horror. So I have been aware because here's the thing. I am a Star Wars fan, a big Star Wars fan, but more than a Star Wars fan, I am also like a big bad movie aficionado, right? Like one of the things that got me into
I mean,
cinema.
there's a place in the world for bad movies, but good bad movies, right? There's
Well,
a
see,
difference.
here's the thing. It's like because what got me into cinema in the first place was like bad movies at Mystery Science Theater 3000, and when you run
Right.
in those circles, the
Right.
Star Wars Holiday Special is
Definitely comes up. Yeah.
infamous.
It's top tier.
It's
Yeah.
it's a rite of passage. Like when you talk about really bad movies, there's kind of like there's a list of like endurance test movies, like certain episodes of MST3K, Birdemic.
Right.
Like they're the movies
Plan 9 from Outer Space. That's
Right.
one.
Right. There's like you get to wear them like little badges. Like they're like little Cub Scout medals basically that you get to be like, I made it through the holiday special. Damn. Your endurance is high. And like what I love about you mentioned that you said it was like the worst of 70s psychedelic sci-fi. I actually disagree. I think it's the worst of 70s variety show television.
Right.
Ah,
That's
you're right.
More than psychedelic horror. I mean, horror, but like sci-fi.
Right.
But because like rewatching this, because I have actually seen it multiple times at this point, right? Because like
Why?
it's hysterical. It's so like I laugh my ass off every time I watch this thing. Like especially, it's one of those things that's especially fun to show to people who haven't seen it and have no idea. Because we all forget this now because the internet exists.
Right.
But up until the internet, the Star Wars Holiday Special had this strangely mythic status, where kind of like Roger Corman's Fantastic Four.
Oh my God!
It didn't exist officially, and the only way you could see it was go to conventions, and you'd get a VHS tape that someone copied. Because again, we don't know where the masters are. We don't know who has the master tapes. I think they're locked in a vault at Lucasfilm, guarded by stormtroopers or Palpatine's Red Guard. But like, so the only versions that exist is this really, I mean, the one I really want to watch, there's an extended version which includes all the commercial breaks, including all the dated toy commercials and everything, that I really want to see, because it's got
that aired on CBS at the time.
Exactly, because like one of my favorite parts is the Incredible Hulk and Wonder Woman will not be screening at their normal times this week.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, I feel, talking about nostalgia, it's like, the 70s television.
So this, as how I just think about this special is that it's again old versus new. This is what happens if stuff didn't work out for George Lucas, because it came out right after the first film. None of the law of the franchise was ever settled. Think about it. It's before Empire.
Yeah.
Right.
So none of the law. Exactly. Right. It's none of the grand law stuff is settled. So you could have it had a bunch of weird shit that you could have do and get away with, and nobody would have been wiser or care, at the time. And then if it doesn't work out, you get to sweep it on the rug of history. And
because one of the things is that Lucas has, and Disney's kind of done this too, has done such a meticulous job of preserving the mythology of Star Wars. Right. Like Lucas, one of the things that happened was for the Ewok movies, they wanted to have the stars of the Ewoks movies take part in this McDonald's or Burger King commercial and have them walk off the set and walk into a Burger King. But Lucas shut that down because he didn't want audiences associating the Star Wars characters with like Burger King or Pampers or whatever. But the thing about the holiday special is that it's so dated, and it has, and we'll get into this when we talk about it, but it's speckled with all of these, very dated pop culture references and guest appearances that ground it so heavily in the pop culture that even though bad movie aficionados love the holiday special and laugh themselves silly, Star Wars fans hate it because it breaks the mythology so badly. Like, it breaks the mythology so very badly. One thing I am curious about is I know, because I've always been intrigued by the holiday special. Have any of you seen the trailer for A Disturbance in the Force?
No. I've never.
So this, I'll send the link. But basically, there's a documentary coming out about the making of the holiday special.
Okay.
Oh, well done.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Is it coming out this year by chance?
I don't know. All I know is I saw the link going around, which was the original trailer. And again, they interviewed anyone involved they could find. They walked through the creative process and what it was like working for Fox Television and this assignment and all the production troubles, and then of course also go into the the post-release where it gets shut down and they're told they're never going to air it again, but then it develops this weird life. It's a very interesting trailer, and since I've always found the special so mysterious, I really want to watch this doc.
Right.
It's really interesting. Looks really interesting.
Right. Tracy, your history with the horror show.
So here's the hilarity for me, because but before that, I will say this. CC, in terms of that Roger comic Fantastic Four, I have a memory of sitting down in one of my old offices. I think it was around the time the second iteration of Fantastic Four was coming out, or somewhere on there. And a friend of mine, who is a bigger nerd than I am, had a copy somehow. I don't know where he had it, but we all sat down in the office and watched that version
Oh
of
no.
Fantastic Four. I don't know how he sourced it, but anyhow. So, and so that's a whole other memory of itself. I think of the Christmas special in a weird way, the same way how I feel about rubber. Uh, in terms of,
The
I don't
infamous,
know.
sorry, the cult classic, rubber.
The cult classic. It really is because I don't know. Should I be drinking and watching this? What exactly
Exactly.
is the deal? Now, my heights with the holiday special is like it's impacted on me and a great deal of Star Wars fans in a strange way where like on somebody's birthday or something like that, we will still say Happy Life Day. But Life Day, you know, I've done that. I have a couple of friends who like that. They'll just be like, Happy Life Day. And that's a whole scene. But the idea of Life Day in terms of what the old holiday special was, it really was. I mean, it's frightening. One, two. It kind of has um, that 70s Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy cheesiness kind of vibe that
Oh man.
Right.
I don't, you know, and there's certain parts of it. Like I'll be honest, I did a rewatch, and there's certain parts of it that's like, what in the name of Black Mirror is this? And I'm specifically thinking of the Diane Carroll segment. And it's like, what
Ooh,
is that?
we could talk about that. We could talk about that.
Exactly.
We absolutely do.
So for me,
Wow.
it's like when I look at that, I feel like it's something. It really is something that if you call yourself a Star Wars fan or if you want to get involved with Star Wars, you really should. It's like it's one of those things that you don't necessarily think about when you offer Star Wars to people. You say, okay, you start with 1, 2, 3, and then you can do that, but you don't really talk about the holiday special. But if you do get somebody to like sit down and maybe clamp them down and be like, we are watching the holiday special.
Right.
That is kind of that is legitimately how I feel. And what really, you know, like I would listen to some of the cast later on. Anthony Daniels, you know, said in a video something along the lines of "Watch it and you will die." You know, that kind of real ominous, The Ring kind of sensibility because no one wants to talk about this. But and I could be wrong. This is the one redeeming thing, and I feel like I could be wrong. But I do remember that okay, like within the extended universe, the books and stuff, there's stuff in there that may have gotten a little bit more life based on the special. So like the idea of Chewbacca's family and some of the stuff that will eventually happen to them, like in some of the extended universe books and that kind of stuff. I sometimes wonder if that was like if that holiday special sort of maybe was a seed to sort of extend and expand and say, okay, this is how it could be redeemed, but the actual special of itself. And I have seen that one because YouTube is a gem. There is that one with all the commercials, and at the end of it, they say that Bill Bixby's The Incredible Hulk will return next week. So that is a high unto itself.
I
But
need to
yes,
look for that version though. I really
I
do.
will find it and I will send it to you because oh
Me
my
too.
God.
Please.
Please.
I will watch it again. I want
It really is something.
I'll get drunk and watch it again and wait for those commercials.
So yeah, that in a nutshell is me. It's why am I watching this, but also okay, I am watching this, and that's where I stand on it.
Right. Last but not least, Ricardo, your history with the
Yes.
Star Wars horror picture show.
Right. Yeah. For me, it was one of those things I kind of caught pretty late. I saw this when, boy, probably for the first time in 2007, where I think it's one of those internet jokes thing you saw like somebody making fun of it on Dig or Reddit or something like that. Or I think probably like if you remember Attack of the Show, remember that show? Um, them making fun of
yeah,
it.
big show back in the days. Back in the
Right,
days.
something like that. And I was like, all right, let me finally like snuff this out and see if I could find it. And yeah, I end up taking a teen and then seeing its utter failings and why it doesn't work. And yeah, as I said, it's pretty early. It's done. Most of the mythos as we understand Star Wars hasn't been formed yet. Remember, this is before Empire. It's because remember, didn't Luke beat Darth Vader beat Luke's father was nothing or nothing like that. So you could see like all of the weird ideas and all of the bullshit that could come true coming into something and jumping onto something that's a moneymaker. And then Lucas himself, you're not sure how he feels about the material or not. And it is a really interesting time capsule from that standpoint. That's how I kind of just always thought about it. It's one of those things because you like CC, you mentioned variety hour stuff. Yeah, that was the stuff that commanded the 70s. That was like,
oh yeah,
you get all of these C-list celebrities, sometimes even B-list celebrities coming onto your show. You have to do this, that, and the other. Like, hey, I kind of recognize this guy from somewhere. And that as I mentioned, all the cameos and all the weird stuff. That's how it is. And they just decide, all right, what we're gonna do to push people into a space to say, all right, we can make something that don't mix again old and new. We have the old way of making money and popularizing a franchise as opposed to the absolute blockbuster paradigm shift that Star Wars created. Right? Let's admit it. Star Wars started something very interesting and special when it comes to franchising. And Lucas, this was, and I would argue, Lucas didn't strike the iron right when it was hot. Well, I should say the iron wasn't hot yet, but he still struck with this film. So it was just a sad clan. And that's basically what this was. It was it's just the world wasn't really ready for Star Wars yet, not just ready, and he decided to just put out this thing as an attempt to put it to make sense of anything, and then it just ended up being this horrible disaster because nobody had any sense of what was going on. And that's how I always felt about it. It was one of these things that is an interesting failure. I'll admit, because I keep reiterating I'm not a big Star Wars fan, so I wasn't invested in whether or not this was good or not. It's like, okay, I could see why this would be popular because of Star Wars as a film at the time, and again, it was on CBS. It's not like people had to go to theaters for it or anything like that. It was like, because it's not like something that started off pretty badly and then ended up turning out good, which was like something like the Clone Wars, right? Remember the Clone Wars movie?
Right.
So it's like that. That's how I kind of think of the whole thing. Is that it's this thing that you're trying out, and it's an abject failure when it first starts. But if you give it a chance to go on, it could go on to become a great thing. And that's basically what it was, is that Star Wars ended up becoming this mega hit, and Lucas kind of didn't know what to do with it at the time. This is about a year later, right? That's what it was.
Roughly a year later.
I forgot.
Yeah, exactly.
It came out November 17th, I would say 1978, which is funny because the new special, also came out this year, November 17th. So that's
by design.
November 17th is officially Life Day, so that's Life Day on Kashyyyk. So.
Right.
That's canon now, everybody.
Yeah, that's the whole thing.
Okay.
Right? That was intentional. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't have any big like emotional thing about this because again, not that big of a Star Wars fan. Kind of just looked at it as this interesting novelty for what it was. It's still really bad. If I was to look at it from that historical standpoint, I'd be like, yeah, what the hell is this? This wasting my time with nonsense. But yeah, it is pretty bad.
It's really bad.
Yeah,
I've seen Samurai Cop. This is really bad.
Yeah. The one thing that was noticeable is to see a young Beata there, because I know Beata. I know Beata from Girls. Golden Girls, right? Exactly. Mm-hmm. So to see her a lot long, and I at the time I didn't know that she was in a show called Maud, right? That was the show she was in.
Right. Yes. Right. Yes.
Well, so I was like, hey, Beata looking so strange in this, and Beata was like a big comedy person at the time. She was like hilarious to a lot of people apparently. At the time she was a big comedy person. So I get what they're trying to go for, and they're trying to punch it up and make it look, but the whole thing is just such a mess. And as a Christmas special, I could imagine somebody like trying to have it make sense and trying to tap into that energy. And it's interesting how that is not the direction you should be going with Star Wars at all. But you could only see that in hindsight. But it's really fascinating in that sense. Anyway, that's just my last take out it because I don't want to talk about.
We need to get into it.
Yeah. So I'm gonna move quick with this one, right? So brace yourselves.
Yes,
All right,
yes,
so
true.
both you, Tracy, and Ricardo brought up Christmas, right? Because the thing for me going in for the first time is that I thought that, okay, of course we're not gonna see Christmas in in a galaxy far, far away, but at least with this thing Life Day, right? This invented holiday, at least they're gonna bring it up in the show, right? But they don't up until a particular point. But we'll get to that point in a bit, right? So basically, the film begins with stock footage from the last movie, right? For the first movie, basically, with the Millennium Falcon being chased by enemy starships, right? I love how you'll see that footage, and then it will cut to footage of Han and Chewie inside the Falcon, and it's clearly it's clearly they use TV cameras. So you
Mm-hmm.
see
Right.
that specific film
Mhm.
stock that
Yeah.
Mm.
just
They had like
pales in
one day.
comparison to the look of dailies basically from the old movie. Sorry, well,
Oh
deleted scenes from the
man,
movie. It just looks so jarred, right? But that's
it's
part
so
of what
bad.
makes it funny to it. It really looks hilarious, right?
Like
But it's yeah.
like folks, if you watch the holiday special for any reason, I just watch it so you can see how far television has come in 50 years.
Yeah, for
I
real.
know, right?
Oh
There's a truth there.
Lord.
Wow. It just
Because
looks
like
so dated, man.
it really looks like they only had the Millennium Falcon cockpit set for like
Right.
a day or a few hours and
Right.
shot it with the TV cameras and then added the stock footage from the movie.
Mhm.
It is so like and like and it's clear because like there's like a couple scenes throughout the special and it'll cut back to them in the cockpit to remind you that they're there. But even those scenes, it's kind of clear, mainly from Harrison Ford, that um okay, yeah, all the principal cast have very different coping mechanisms for how they got through filming this. Oh my lord. We'll get remind me when we get to Carrie Fisher. There's a story about that. But
Yeah.
there's a
Well,
story.
I can't wait, right? But yeah, so essentially the plot, as you may assume, centers on Han promising Chewie that he's gonna, that they're gonna get home because, well, we're gonna be introduced to Chewie's family in a minute, right? But yeah,
Right.
today's Life Day, I'm gonna get you home, man. So hold on, man, while we avoid these guys, right?
Mm.
And then they do the hyperdrive thing, and then you get, oh my god, back to late 70s variety shows, TV shows, right? It's the Star Wars Holiday Special, and then they do
Oh,
that
look,
Right.
that
and he
really out of timing,
it's
outdated 60s/70s Irish shots. You see all the faces of everyone, and
Yeah.
oh my god, Mark Hamill though. It's only afterwards I realized that apparently he was in some kind of accent, so he had to do
Yes. Right.
facial
Mhm.
reconstructive surgery. But my
Mhm.
god, the man face looks like he's a Ken doll come to life. Like,
Yeah.
what the
meanwhile
what? Look at the
Carrie
girl's
Fisher,
face. Like, what?
meanwhile Carrie Fisher has this dreamy look that she has throughout the entire special. Because fun fact, Carrie Fisher, may she rest in peace, did not
All
remember
right.
filming the holiday special.
Right. Well.
She was
Yeah.
high out
Because.
of her
Yeah.
mind the
Yep.
entire
Oh, that
Big
explains
strong.
it.
Yeah. It was
That
the 70s and the early 80s.
like
Leading into the 80s. So yeah, a
yeah,
lot of
and like
drugs.
if you the stylistic clash is already like if the opening with like the stock footage versus the cockpit footage wasn't bad enough, like you were saying, Matthew, it's the like the Star Wars theme, like dun, 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 and like that music, and then just as it gets to the swell, then the voice cuts in. The Star Wars Holiday Special
Yeah.
featuring Mark Hamill,
Yeah.
Carrie Fisher, Harrison
R2D2 as
Ford.
Yeah, and that's such a
R2D2.
that's such a variety our thing to do, eh?
It is. And then
Yeah.
and I love and introducing and I need to do this bit because oh my god, like introducing Chewbacca's family, his
Oh
wife
my God,
Paula,
Lumpy!
his father
Dude,
Itchy,
Oh
his
the
man,
son
father's no,
Lumpy.
no, yo, the father's face, like the first time you see that
what
face,
is up with that
you're like,
jaw?
what the hell is that? You know what it remind me of? You know what it remind me of? It reminded me of the alien human hybrid from the end of Alien Resurrection. It has the same jaw, that same kind of protruding jaw.
I,
It
I,
looks horrible.
It's so bad.
the
And his
thing
name
with
is Itchy. None of like his name like who
Itchy
named
and
this
Lumpy, and I can't remember the wife's name,
Itchy?
but Itchy and
Um,
Lumpy.
Mala
Right.
is two names.
Okay. Because I love how we have this great canon of Wookiee names. You have Chewbacca, you have Tarful, King of the Wookiees from Revenge of the
Yeah.
Sith, you have Mala, and then apparently Itchy and Lumpy.
Yeah.
Itchy and Lumpy.
Well, it does beg the question: is it like Ichubakan or something like that, and everybody just calls him Itchy for short? Is it Lumpabakan, and it's just because I can't
Yeah.
remember that. Oh my god!
Oh, I know there's some EU explanation for like
Yes.
what their names are and that they're
Yeah.
just names, but just taking it at face value, the information we're given is that Chewbacca's father's name is Itchy.
Yeah.
And that's hilarious.
Nah, it is.
Oh.
So just when you thought it was a good idea, um, to just have this 5 minute scene of Chewie's family, right? Well, okay, so yeah, clearly somebody thought it was a good idea, basically, to just have this 5 minute scene with Chewie's family, right? Which includes nothing but Wookiee calls, yells, and grunts, and
No subtitles, no one speaking English. Also, the
yeah,
Wookiee sound effects are so strange. Like
it is so.
his father is clearly like some kind of buffalo thing because it's like.
He goes like,
But then
yeah.
Lumpy sounds like a goddamn engine.
Like, what? And it just keeps going. And this is one thing about these segments. They just keep going. There's no sign of them stopping. Though. And
Oh,
they're like,
guys, it's Lumpawaro. Lumpawaro. That's his full name.
Real.
okay. Yeah,
Oh.
but talking about Lumpy though, like the voice for Lumpy sounds literally like he's just like taking a shit and he's just trying to force it out. It's like no, it is horrible. No, it's terrible.
Well,
It's
part of the
hard to
thing is
sit.
because
It's
you
hard to sit.
don't you don't understand what any of them are saying. You don't know what's going on. You're just kind of
Well,
watching them.
But
Like,
you can
okay,
see the
well,
action,
well,
and you
well,
can.
yeah,
you see the
exactly. To the
action, like,
movie's credit,
okay, and
to
like
the
on
film's
my
credit. Oh, sorry. Go finish.
well, like, and I'm on my fourth viewing, and like I get the broad strokes. Like Lumpy is playing with his toy. He
Right.
irritates Itchy. Mala tries to get him to do chores or something, and he doesn't want to because he wants to play with his X-wing. Blah blah blah. But like, it is borderline incoherent
Yeah.
since there's no way to really follow what's going on.
Exactly. And because it just keeps going and going, you're like, all right, there's a point to this. We don't know, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so out of the blue, Chewie's dad just decided to put on this tape recorder. Like, swear to God, it's a tape recorder, right? And then we get this like really bizarre, like Cirque du Soleil virtual reality
Oh
Yeah.
performance
God.
thing,
The
which
dance.
also just goes on for too long. And
Oh,
the
that's
music is
so.
bizarre. The costume is bizarre. Bizarre, sorry. And like literally, it feels like something out of a 70s, like, psychedelic sci-fi flick show. It
That's
just
like
really does.
pure Logan's Run
Right.
or
Yeah,
Fahrenheit
Logan's Run.
451. It's like pure. Oh, like you're just sitting there like that was. I watched this with my partner. I got them to watch this because I needed to rewatch it for the show.
Right.
They had a lot
How,
of
how,
regret.
how could you put him through that? Why?
They asked similar questions, but that was the moment when the circus started. That was the moment when they stopped, stared at the screen, and then like slowly looked at me with this expression of what the fuck? What
Mm-hmm.
the fuck is
Yeah.
going on?
Oh my god,
And I
dude.
couldn't give them an explanation. I couldn't
Right.
say. I couldn't say, well, this is happening. I was like, you know what? You're
Yeah.
You know what it is?
Yeah.
It's when you watch like 70s music videos, for whatever better way of putting it, that kind of the
Are we going to
outfits
talk
and the
about
stand up.
70s music videos in a
Yeah.
little while? But
Oh my
continue.
god. Yeah, no, but that's the kind of vibe that I always take away from it when I see that particular sequence. It's like it's weird and you're not sure how the costumes fit into anything and it's just there, but it's part and parcel of the process. That's how I view 70s music videos and that's what I get out of
Yeah.
it.
Right. Yeah, so afterwards, Chewie's parents, because, okay, so essentially what's going on at home, because this is on the Wookiee plant, right? They're all waiting for Chewie to return because they can't start life day, well, their festivities without him, right? So
Mhm.
Right.
So the parents basically have this Skype call. Yes, I know it's a video chat, but whatever, right? We got to call it Skype, right? So they call Luke, who is like you see him basically doing some repairs with R2D2, and then you really see Mark Hamill's face, and you're like, God damn, what happened? Why do you look like a Ken doll, right? What is going on? And he's like, oh, it's gonna be okay. Come on, Marlon, give me a smile. Like,
Oh God.
and
Horror.
Yeah.
That is the creepiest. I mean, we're gonna get to the creepiest moment in it in a little bit, but that is one of the creepiest. It's like, come on, Mala, give me that smile, and then we keep cutting back and forth
I
between.
wonder if your creepy moment is mine. We'll talk about that later.
But like, we keep cutting back and forth between creepy Ken doll Luke trying to coach creepy kind of because the problem with the Wookiee costumes, it reminds me of Beneath the Planet of the Apes,
Right.
where they don't have enough ape costumes for
To
good
go
ape
around.
costumes for everyone. So some of
Right.
the actors have these like pull over ape masks with kind of dead
Yeah.
eyes. The
Right.
problem with these Wookiee masks is that they're not state of the art.
Yeah,
Like
they just went cheap with the whole
we
thing.
are
Yeah.
we are a long way away from the Jim Henson creature shop alien effects of Empire and Return of the Jedi.
Yep.
These are like, so they've got these really kind of dead eye looks sometimes, especially when they hold a particular expression for too long. So we have dead eye Mala and Ken-faced Luke cutting back and forth, and I'm just like, this needs to end. This needs to end like right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, I mean, it's even worse because Luke's expression is just so weird. Like, he's smiling, but it just looks so artificial. Like, he's just screaming internally. You know. Right. So afterwards, though, we introduced to. Well, okay. So I'm forgetting this guy's name. So essentially, he's a friend of the Wookiee family, right? He's played by Art Carney, right? He
Right.
owns
Right.
this more or less this trading post, basically. And then afterwards, we this Imperial soldier, whatever, shows up and think they right. But he gets a call too, and he's like, well, no, he doesn't know what's going on, but he's gonna pass by later on, right? So remember that he's gonna pass by later on.
Yeah.
And then out of the blue, we just get this deleted scene with Darth Vader. And he's talking about how we're gonna find the rebels, even if it means going into every household.
Yeah.
And it cuts the commercial break at that moment, and I'm like, all right, I know for sure this is gonna be the only time you'll see Darth Vader, but
The
there's
only
no
time.
need for Darth Vader to be in this show. Like, why though? Especially if we go with the fact that this came after A New Hope. So why is he there? I don't know. Anyway, so then we get go on.
Oh
Go on.
man. We then followed it up with one of my favorite segments, which is when Mala decides to start preparing the Life Day food,
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
and and so she's preparing bantha steak, and this is the first of the, and so she's watching a Star Wars universe cooking
The chef.
show
Yeah,
The chef,
yeah.
dude.
hosted
Also
by
played by Harvey Korman, by the way.
Harvey Korman, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you at home, Harvey Korman, notable and recurrent Mel Brooks collaborator, is in
Right.
the holiday special. Not once,
Right.
not twice, but 3 times.
Yep.
And in this segment, he's playing a 4-armed alien, and it is an alien female, so he is performing in drag as a 4-armed alien chef lady, and it's
It's kind of
funny, but
like
not
Julia
for the
Childs meets Star
Right.
Wars, but
Right.
oh god.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here like, who was this segment for? This wasn't for the kids. Like, the kids aren't going to be watching this and be like, oh yeah, it's the cooking segment. Like, stir whip. It's like, whatever. It's like,
As a bring up stir whip, there's something almost hypnotic about that stir whip, whip,
well,
stir.
what I find so creepy
And I
about
was honestly thinking, how come a rapper never really like used that?
As a
Because
sample.
whip because whip is part of like hip hop
Yeah,
lexicon now. So it's like what I was saying. Stir whip. I was like, yeah, you could make some coke rap out of that.
what I find so funny is that Harvey Korman is definitely very committed to this bit, and so it's like doing this whole welcome to the show, I am Chef Commander, and like whatever, and so we go stir whip, whip, stir. Come on, stir, whip, stir, whip, whip. And what I love is that like he gets more and more into it. His wig kind of comes
Yeah, little strands of hair and
and he's like flying wildly, and like his whole tone is getting more like out of control. It's cutting back and forth to like the editing in the holiday special is fucking genius, and because it's also cutting to Mala trying to keep up frantically. It's like stir, whip, whip. Come on, cooking is fun. Stir, whip.
I will say Mala's expression to it is kind of how I feel when I have to follow a recipe. It's like there's a sense of anxiety and what is this? I can't deal with this. That is me.
Yeah. I just love how that scene ends with literally Mala turning off the TV as the cook is done. No, see you next time for another episode of. No, she just turns it off. So she finished cooking.
And the thing
over
is, again, this was before the hologram stuff, so they had a television. Like it's all these weird, yeah, it's all of that.
They don't communicate by I don't know. It's
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Now, just to get back to Han's story, right? Now, if the story was just centered on Han just trying to get home, right? Or if it was just the primary cast with Chewie, of course, just trying to get to the Wookiee planet for in time for Life Day. That would have been a brilliant premise. Have it be half hour, have it be a contained story. If you want to, you could kind of squeeze in that bit, although I wouldn't recommend it. And that's a special right there. So in other words, which is technically what the new version did, you give us a Star Wars adventure, but you keep it sort of lighthearted and fun because it's a Christmas show, right? A Christmas special, sorry. But no, you give us all these segments because
comedy.
I guess, yeah.
70s.
Yeah.
We need the thinnest excuse possible to shoehorn in as many acts and variety. Like, here's the thing that I love rewatching it. The excuses they come up with to incorporate the gratuitous cameos and the different acts and musical numbers are some of the thinnest I have ever seen. Like some of the excuses they come up with, some of the like in special reasons to shoehorn in these acts are ridiculously flimsy, and they slow everything down to a grinding halt, especially since most of them happen after the plot quote unquote really gets going in later, and like it slows everything down because things are supposed to be at their most tense, but we keep stopping for these different segments, and so everyone's just kind of awkward. And so and because they keep reminding us that there is still the plot going on awkwardly, basically everyone is kind of awkwardly standing around waiting for the segments to be over, like we the audience are sitting here awkwardly waiting for the segments to be over.
To get on with it.
I would imagine if families were watching this, there'd be moments where the kids would literally run outside and play and then come back to check to see, oh, is the segment done? Okay, back to the show, and sit back up. That's how it's designed. Sorry, that's just how it is. Which leads me now to probably one of the most jaw-dropping moments of this show.
No.
I did not see this coming a mile away. So for the moment they said, with special guest, Diane Carroll. I was like, okay.
Oh, let's have that conversation.
We're going to get a musical performance. Okay. It's a Christmas special. All right.
Oh, let's do that.
Okay. Let's see we play it out. But it's the setup though that I still can't believe. So the trading post owner basically shows up at the house, right? He's dropping off gifts and whatnot. He gives Lumpy this not a recorder, this communication device basically, and he gives the dad a mind evaporator. I think that's what it's called, right? Okay, it's some device he will use it at some point, and we don't need to see it. But the show decided, hey, let's actually show him using it, right? He puts it on, and then you get this 70s music video aesthetic, think I Want to Rock With You from Michael Jackson. Think backgrounds for that, with the lights and the the surrealistic lighting
of the budget.
Right. And Diane Carroll in the middle of it.
But because Michael Jackson had access to pretty state of the art cameras and production design, gaslighting
Right.
people.
Yeah.
No,
Like even
no,
though
not,
the video is like what 78 or 79, I
yeah.
think. It's
Apparently,
still a dope video. It's still a dope video. It's
Yeah.
very
it really is.
leading up to the
It-
80s style of film.
It's
music video film.
smooth. It's sexy. It's cool. It's brilliant. This, on the other hand, apparently 20th Century, because this is 20th Century Fox's at the time television division that was
Right.
responsible for this nightmare, and apparently they just didn't have the money for that, so it's so cheap looking, and the kaleidoscope effects are so weird.
It
And
is.
like,
But that whole the between the kaleidoscope and well the intro of that, this is gonna sound a little weird,
Go
so
ahead.
forgive me in advance. But I remember seeing these tiny versions of her moving on. It's like, why does this look like sperm? It's like
I know, right?
it was just weird.
It's frightening, though. It's frightening.
And then the face in the face and
it doesn't help that she's doing this whole "I am your fantasy."
oh my
Yeah.
god.
We are excited, aren't we? And I'm there
feel
like, wait. This is TVG, TVMA. Who is this for?
It's a little. It slightly reminds me of this shit the Dune. Remember the Dune movie, the
Oh
opening?
God,
Remember that?
the Lynch movie.
The Lynch, right? The Lynch Dune movie.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, note to self. I need to watch that movie since when again the remake for
Right,
Oh, why?
this
Right,
for
yeah,
this
well,
was
that's
happening.
another movie.
Oh, well,
that didn't bring
yeah.
out. Yeah. Well. Anyway, yeah. Go ahead.
Put
Yeah.
yourself in that if you want.
But as I say,
I swore myself never again. Never again.
but yeah, though the setup. So in a nutshell, guys, what it literally is the father literally looking at VR porn.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
that,
Yeah,
that
that's
that's what it is.
that's effectively.
That's what it is.
That is the
And I'm
effective.
there
what
like,
is
wait, but
going on.
Star Wars,
Yeah, good
family
stuff.
show,
Yeah.
TVG, I
And
assume.
know,
somebody
Michael-
had fun.
TVY7.
No, Michael
Why
Jordan.
having this?
Yeah,
And
Michael
even
Jordan.
tell me, oh, well, it's not VR porn. So why is Dan Carroll,
Yeah.
though I mean, she dressed well and all that. I mean, it's very, late 70s disco way and whatnot, right? But why is she
Right.
talking in this sensual AI way?
Yeah,
Like,
it weird.
just
Yeah.
relax, you know what I
It's
mean?
just watching the father's expressions and the reversing of when she speaks it.
Yeah.
That's the thing
Editing is
that makes
weird.
it so bad.
Although
I can't help but think it is VR porn.
that may not be a coincidence because it might they probably just get an actual porn editor or something. I'm sure that.
I call that the Black Mirror part of it because there's like okay, well, it has that kind of I wouldn't say full Black Mirror, but there's something about it that was freaking me out, and it's like Black Mirror.
Yeah, it's the illusion of technology. Like, technology can feel
It's like-
better, but it's a trap, man. I don't know.
Because the Diane Carroll intro and musical number is weird and psychedelic and kind of unsettling. It has, again, like Lynch's Dune, it's got that thing where like the character looks straight at the camera into your soul and narrates in this kind of dreamy way, and that's bad enough. But as if the special doesn't want us to forget Itchy, it keeps cutting to Itchy sitting in his chair watching, like, just to remind us, hey, this is not just a segment. This is a thing that this character in particular is watching, and that horrible mouth of his keeps opening as he's like grunting in pleasure. Watching this thing. Like, I'm like, no.
Sweet Lord.
Let
Yeah.
me forget. Let me forget about Itchy for one moment. Ah, no. It's like, please.
My God.
Oh my god.
The editing, like, I will maintain that one of the greatest strengths, and by strengths I mean unintentional moments of comedy of the entire special, is how brilliant the editing throughout is. Like the editing throughout the special is so bad, and it makes so many things worse than they were going to be already. Like, just
Yeah.
just
But-
juxtaposition of images.
Yeah, but just when I thought the scene couldn't get any worse, and I'll stop here. She sings, and I have no problem with Diane Carroll singing, right? I mean, she's a great singer, right? But the song itself is this whole cliche, you know what I mean? This cliche, oh well, you know what I mean? You and me, we can't be together, blah blah blah, that kind of vibe, that kind of thing. And then you're thinking, okay, it's just a song, whatever. And then the show have the audacity to throw all these like cheap visual effects, especially near the end where they just kind of lose this shit and just have her literally dissolve into white. And I'm like, what? Like kids supposed to sit down and watch this and enjoy this? Am I
pretty
supposed to
much.
get hyped to this? Like,
Yeah, rough.
Yeah.
what?
What are the kids supposed to be doing while this segment happens?
Yeah.
We're
I,
watching
I,
Chewy Granddad watch musical porn. What are the kids doing right now?
Hey,
Writers?
it's literally fun for the entire family. So, you know.
I know. So for that one relative who always stuck in his room, you know what I mean, for no reason, wink wink.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
this is the segment for him, right? So later on now, right? So a couple of stormtroopers show up. Actually, a few stormtroopers come through with a general and the same Imperial Guard soldier guy from the trading post shop, right? So basically they come because they're looking for Chewie, right? So they make it a sweep of the entire house, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
This sweep, by the way, takes like it feels like it takes like a whole half hour.
It
Cause
does.
Yeah.
it just they just moving slow for no reason, right? But now just when you told the Dan Carroll section was bad enough. Then no,
Oh no.
the no the well one of the soldiers basically finds this briefcase thing that the trading post guy has, right? He pulls it up. There's a computer in it. It's like, oh, what's this thing about? And then he sets it up now, and then we get another virtual reality performance. This time from the legendary rock band Jefferson Starship,
Yeah.
who of course should
Mm.
be in this show because Starship.
Jefferson Starship.
And yes,
Good.
for all you viewers at home, Jefferson Starship is Jefferson Airplane, like
Right.
White Rabbit Jefferson
Right.
Airplane.
They
What
sang
Yeah,
Miracles
it's
as
called
well,
apparently,
right?
rebranding. It's called
yeah,
rebranding people.
yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently, what happened was Jefferson Starship was what they renamed the band after they lost one of the bassists and one of the guitarists, and then they
Okay. Right.
to
Right.
like kind of rebranded for the 80s, so Jefferson Airplane for the 70s, now they're Jefferson Starship for the 80s, right?
Right.
So, and like their whole thing is like psychedelic and like harder rock and that kind of thing. I have no idea. Do you think any of these, this is the thing I'm curious about with the doc, and I sent you all the trailer for that, but the thing I'm curious about with the doc, do you think any of these groups had any idea what they were doing these performances for?
No,
They would
Not
have
sure.
to.
no.
Like, do
Not
you
necessarily.
think Diane Carroll had any idea what her segment was going to be for, or what Jefferson Star, like, do they know the context for their performances before they like?
I doubt it.
Probably
And
not.
yeah,
No,
and
because
go on.
it's super easy to no, but it's super easy to sign your name and you're not sure what it is you're signing your name to. I mean, this is happening with like actual uh like actual scientists and people who they'll talk about something and then they voice like I don't know if you follow this guy online, a guy called Dan Olson. He has this great little thing about how like actual physicists and serious people got themselves into this pseudoscientific documentary because the people just bullshit them. Like I can
Oh,
imagine
yeah.
that stuff. Yeah, I can imagine that stuff happens all the time in Hollywood. Like, oh well,
The
my voice on
agents.
something. Therefore,
Yeah.
yeah, it's stuff like that.
And
Right.
like,
It's
and I
yeah,
feel like a big thing is definitely that like, Star Wars has just come out and it's this big
Right.
deal.
Exactly.
And like, hey, you want a piece of that Star Wars pie? Fox
right.
Television is doing a Star Wars thing and they want you to
Yeah.
perform for it.
Yeah, that's
Even
how to be
though
vague about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
exactly like, and then like only afterwards when they sit around with the family, like I'm just imagining
What is
Diane
that?
Carroll.
Yeah.
I'm just imagining Diane Carroll watching her segment in context and just like, oh god, I'm just like watching between her fingers and like, oh god. I
Yeah.
Her
want to
relatives is probably like just shit she up on a regular basis when that comes
No,
up.
but
like
no, it's
happy life day.
yeah, no, it's one of those things. Again, it's one of those things that yeah, no, yeah, I could imagine it's one of those things that they just hear Star Wars. Hey, I want to be part of that, or even they didn't even know what it is necessarily, but the agent want to be
No,
part of it,
Mhm.
and they just sign them up. Yeah, that's it.
like we're gonna get into the B. Arthur segment later, but in the trailer for A Disturbance in the Force, they have a clip because they actually interviewed B. Arthur for that documentary, apparently, and
Right.
she had not seen Star Wars. She had
Yeah.
no idea what that.
Wow.
Star Wars was and what all the fuss was about when she signed up to do the special.
boy.
Right.
Which
Maybe she thought it was a TV show.
it's like, yeah, Fox is like, hey, we're doing a TV show. It's going to be on CBS prime time. It's gonna be great.
Exactly. That's all they
Prime
need to
time
know.
is
Yeah.
like-
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, whatever. And then, like, when she gets there on set and she's surrounded by, like, all of those extras dressed up as aliens, is like, what the fuck did I sign up for?
Right. Right.
Yeah. Right. So just to conclude about Jefferson's Starship, right? So here's the thing, like these songs, right? Up to this point, you're thinking, okay, are they going to have something to do with Life Day / Christmas? But they don't, right? Like I say, Diane Carroll's song is about, love and how unrequited love and whatnot. This one is cliche, sci-fi space stuff. You could take me higher. He came from
Yeah.
the stars. Will you like the sky on fire? Blah, blah, blah. And it just keeps going and going. And they have like this sort of pinkish purple tint that they use throughout, to make it feel all psychedelic, man, because late 70s, man. And I'm there like, who is this for? Who is this for? Right? And the best part about this sequence, guys, is that everything stops. So listen,
Yeah.
so is the random suite going on during this 5-minute
Well, we keep
performance, or
we-
does it stop?
we keep cutting to the Imperial officer just kind of sitting at the table watching the performance because, again, they won't let
Oh,
you,
I love how he's like tapping his finger to it.
they won't let you just enjoy the performance. They have to remind you that the plot is still going on.
I mean, to be fair, the rebels did light the sky on fire when they destroyed the Death Star. So maybe it was a hidden, covert, some kind of something that was going on there. That's a thought.
Oh, okay, like a song of rebellion.
It's-
Yes,
Yeah.
we took
Yeah.
down, we
It's a
took
song
down the
of
empire.
rebellion.
Haha.
Yeah.
By this, like,
Take me higher than the diamonds,
I just love the implication that there is, in fact, like we've had subtle hints of it throughout Star Wars. I think Clone Wars in particular hints at this, but there is definitely pop music within Star Wars. Like in the world of Star Wars, there is a music industry. There are bands. There are radio stations that broadcast music intergalactically. Star Wars has pop music.
I give you Jedi Rocks as a random thing. Jedi Rocks, which is at the
Ooh.
end of Return of the Jedi, which I will not sing now because that's not happening. But yes, to your pop music, yeah, Jedi Rocks.
Or even like
Right.
what's the one that Lin-Manuel Miranda wrote for Force
Shav cover or something.
That
like
one actually slaps.
Because I have that one on my phone as well. So yeah,
it slaps so hard. It's
Shav cover, yeah. Jabba Flow.
Right. Yeah. So after this much needed musical performance, we get an animated film, and I'm there like, this is some like, this remind me of at this point, Sesame Street.
yeah.
You have a base story that opens the show, but that's not what the show is going to be about for the next 50 minutes.
Yeah.
We're always going to break it up with random segments about numbers and letters, and then we're going to get back to the story ever so often, and then at the very end, we will kind of tie it back to, oh, it was brought to you by this number, this letter.
Mhm.
That's how this show really felt like I'm watching Sesame Street, But really, is when the animated, segment hit. That's when it hit me. So just to talk briefly about the animation stuff, right? So it's funny that Lumpy, right? So remember, Lumpy is Chewie's son, right?
Yeah.
Is watching
Right.
this random animated short, which features his dad.
Yeah, they didn't think that through.
So is this like what? Is this like Logan, for example, where Logan exists and the X-Men comics exists, but he's a character in the comics? Is this what we're going on here?
Rebel propaganda.
I don't know, but whatever.
Well, yeah, because there is a moment briefly when like it's the one moment of tension in the middle of him watching the short. The officer's like, "What are you watching?" Dun 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 dun, and we cut to an ad break, and then after the ad break, he just like, I don't know, clicks on another tab, and it's like, educational. Okay, good. It walks away. We go back to the short. Like it's.
Which makes no sense. I mean, they're not gonna care. Look. Please come on your host. They're not gonna care if you're on your phone or you have your tab watching YouTube. They're not gonna care. They have a job to do. But anyway, right? The thing about this animation that struck me, right, is how it feels sort of like okay, so they pull a little old school film here. It looks like Wizards in a sense, like
It
that late
does.
70s Ralph Bakshi kind of vibe. So the characters are kind of distorted. The
And
backgrounds
liquid.
are very desolate, very deserty based and all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
God damn, Han Solo's face.
Oh, the stretchy
What,
face.
what,
Oh man,
what?
it's even
It
wilder.
looks like
Yeah,
some weird caricature, but like it looked like an evolved caricature of Harrison Ford.
well, like it's wild because most people this is a mind blower. Most fans agree that this segment is the highlight of the special. Some fans actually go on a limb and say that it's actually good. And
Be-
there are fun
Mhm.
fact. There is a special collector's edition of New Hope that I think it's on Blu-ray that includes this short as one of the special features without the rest of the
Okay.
holiday special. Just the short. Because
In-
what also happened was the team that made it then made two short because this was done by Nelvana Limited, right?
Mhm.
And
Who, by the way, will go on to make Ace Ventura, Pet Detective,
but you
which
know
is
they
one of my favorite TV shows of the 90s. As dumb as it was,
oh yeah
I kind
That
of
was just
love that.
great. It was great.
they also but here's the thing because the short was actually the high point of the special it actually like they actually followed it up with the Ewoks show and the Droids show, which were both animated Star Wars shows from the 80s that only lasted a season. And both of them are in the well, Droids in particular is in the same animation style. Ewoks looks more kind of like generic 80s animated cartoon, but
Saban.
Right.
Droids is an entire series done in the same style and follows the adventures of R2D2 and C3PO as they just kind of go on the galaxy having all kinds of random adventures. And it's in the same style as the short. And and this is the bit that blows my mind. Both Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni love this short.
But
Okay,
here,
maybe it's because of because I mean, like we could rip the animation style to shreds, but there's something kind of unique about it. It's something that you
It's
can kind of
weird. It's very weird.
watch. You know what I mean? Like I say, it feels like you're watching Wizards or
Yeah.
some old 70s, early 80s
I
cult
mean,
animated film. You know?
like that's why the weapon that Boba Fett uses in this short is the same one that the Mandalorian uses in the Mandalorian. Like that same
Right.
like
Yeah.
sword, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way,
Yeah.
this is the
Rightfully.
first time we
this
ever
is it.
see
Mhm.
Boba Fett in anything, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That blew my mind literally.
And that
Yeah.
is one of the redeeming factors. And then there is that limited edition toy, which you can't get, for anything. With that two-pronged, whatever the
Yeah.
hell that is, that
Gun.
he uses. Right. And it had, because I remember seeing this in Toys That Made Us, that torpedo that he has there, that little torpedo thing, they did a limited run with that as well, but that turned out to be something of a choking hazard. So, that was discontinued.
And it's also hilarious to me that for all the hype Boba Fett as a character gets, he has more lines and more to do in this one little short in the holiday special than he gets in the entire original trilogy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I know, right?
That's so hilarious.
Yeah. But I mean, overall, yes, this is actually the most intriguing segment in this show. There's another one that comes up in a bit, right? You'll probably know what I'm talking about. Right. So then we get so back to Chewie's son now. So now he's back in his room and it's this MIDI transmitter. That's the name of it, the MIDI transmitter, right?
Oh
And
boy.
then for some godforsaken reason, get a we get an instructional video on how to set up a MIDI transmitter, starring none other than Harvey Korman.
I
And
just
he's
want
playing
the
this
page
sort of
to end.
glitchy Android. So this is like pre-Max Headroom now. So he's doing the thing,
Yeah.
but it just looks so ridiculous. It doesn't even have the kind of 80s style as well Max Headroom did, right? It's just cheap camera tricks basically. Well, cheap editing tricks basically. And like all the other scenes before, it just goes nowhere.
It's
What is
so
it?
boring. Like
No,
for
the
me,
movie stops dead
for
in its
me,
tracks for this. Sir.
for me, this is the absolute low point of the special. Because at least the bit with Itchy is funny bad and like creepy. At least the like, and then the animated special is intriguing. But this is an instructional video with an unfunny comedy bit, and you're just sitting there like, this needs to stop. It just keeps going on and on.
Yeah, it does, it does. And then we get what is, in my opinion, the second, I don't want to say best, I would say most intriguing segment, which caught me completely by surprise. Um Life on Tatooine, which is a propaganda piece, a propaganda series, from the from the Empire, showing how life is in this perfectly controlled world, you know what I mean, where the Empire rules over everyone, right? And then we go to the same cantina from A New Hope, right?
Yeah.
And we are introduced to the bartender, who's played by Beata, right?
In all her sarcastic glory.
Yes, yes, yes. And she, to me, delivers the best performance in the whole movie,
She
which isn't
does.
saying much. I know, but she
Because
does, right?
she's so done. Like, here's the thing about her that makes this so funny. She is she's basically the straight man in this, because like she's running this alien bar on an alien planet, and she is like, it doesn't matter if she's like giving drinks to like a Tal's alien or like some guy with its brain on top of its head or whatever. Her ability
Yeah,
to
yeah, he has
the
this volcano over head, so
right,
he's
and like
pouring the liquid into his head, which is
Yeah.
and
weird.
Harvey Korman yet
Yeah,
again.
Harvey Korman, plays him. I believe that, yeah, they were twins too. They were twins. They were doing the same thing, which was kind of weird. But because the twins were hitting on her, essentially what it is just that you think it is one of Harvey Korman's characters hitting on Beatrice's character, but then you realize, no, there's a twin nearby who's doing the same thing, and you're like, what? Okay. But anyway, go on.
Oh god. But like, and she like, her ability to just keep her entire performance like deadpan and calm, no matter what is happening in the scene, and no matter what bizarre alien she's dealing with, and to just have this whole sense of just being done. Like she's just like she's already done. She's firing on all cylinders with like witty comebacks. Like there are some moments where she legit gets laughs out of me at this bit just from like her performance and her delivery and her like witty comebacks. It's so funny. It's legitimately great and funny.
Yeah, yeah. And I'll admit the song that she does, which, yes, they use the same sort of swing jazz song that they use from the cantina scene. You know what it is. That, right. How they incorporated into this song here, I thought that was cool. It was like, all right, I see what you're doing here.
Like
I mean,
they slowed it down, right?
it's the same band, so that's
Jeez
what they
Wheelers.
play. So let's do a take of this, but this with a slower tempo. All right, you're doing your thing. But the song that she sings here, this idea, because what happens basically is that, well, the bar is on lockdown, right? You know what I mean? So it's like, well, all right, well, this is the last call. You know what I mean? So it's sort of like a poignant kind of farewell song, basically. But it's just like, yeah, just have one more drink and let's just have fun, man. You know what I mean? So I dug that. I dug, especially her delivery. It's really great. It's clear. It's hands down the best song on this in this movie here, right?
It
So
is.
back to the Wookiees' home now.
Oh.
Yeah, so Chewie's son now, right? Lumpy, right? I keep forgetting his name. Sends out this distress signal to his to the Millennium Falcon. A stormtrooper picks up on this, and you think it, okay, he's gonna like blast his kid. Like, I legit was worried. He lets the kid run out of his room, down the flight of steps, and outside now, right? So he's following, right? And then, do Ex Machina time. Both Chewie and Han show up just in nick of time. Han ends up Han ends up distracting the soldier, the stormtrooper, sorry. He trips on a log, swear to God, and falls, and they hear the Wilhelm scream, ah! And I'm like, they really had the balls to use that for this specific moment. Come on, right? And then
And then you
everything's back to normal, right? So Chewie's back. He reunites his family, and then we get this painfully an awkward scene involving and this like hugging the family and whatnot. He gives Chewie this really awkward hug. I could tell this right off the bat, just throughout this whole thing. Yeah, Harrison Ford didn't want to be there. He was just there for like
No,
2 days. Just
not even
paid
a
him. It's
little
like,
bit.
let's just do this. I love how the show kind of sounds that. Can you see, I need to get back to the Falcon because I don't want to get, I don't want the stormtroopers or whatnot to find it there. So he could only just stick around with these guys for like a few minutes. And it's just like, yes, painfully apparent, yes, he does not want to be in the show. He does there for
No,
a paycheck. Just let him go.
not even like this is the moment. Like I know that Harrison Ford, of all the movies he has been in, all the franchises he's been involved in, Star Wars is definitely one of the ones he is less than excited about, even from the word get go. I swear to God, watching him, I see the moment in his eyes when he's like, I want to ask George to kill me off in the next movie. I swear to God. I swear to God, in the middle of all the awkward Wookiee hugs and wishing them a happy life day, I see this moment in his eyes where it's like, well, I'm going to go ask George to kill me off. I'm out.
Can we talk about Mala and Han for that minute there? What is that? What is that? What was that? Was that
Yeah, that
love?
sort of
Was that lust? What is
stare down that
happening
they
there?
do. What is that? What is that?
I just, I can't. I
Yeah.
can't. Yeah.
Plot twist.
Anyway,
Plot
go on,
twist.
go on. Sorry to cut you. Go
Plot
on.
twist. Plot twist. Han Solo is Lumpy's dad.
That I would not doubt. I
I wouldn't doubt
literally
that neither,
would
to be
not doubt
honest.
that.
In this world of Star Wars, yeah, I wouldn't doubt that. Yeah, so the family reunites, and yes, it's every bit as bizarre as you would expect a Wookiee reunion to play out. And then they begin the Life Day ceremony at long last, right? With each member of the family basically holding up this, well, technically it's a snow globe, but for interest, we're gonna call this glowing. No, well, there's not really a glowing orb. It's this glass orb, but there's like a light emanating from the top of it. And then all of a sudden we get what looked to be like the Wookiee equivalent to the intro to Queen's Bohemian Rhapsody music
Yeah,
video. Is this the real world? Is this just fantasy? And
I
all four of them just like together. I'm like, this is Bohemian Rhapsody. Look,
I
look.
have not. I have never watched this movie with any kind of like bad movie person who hasn't, when it gets to that bit, sung out. I see a little silhouette of a man, Scaramouche, Scaramouche, the fandango.
Go.
Oh, I just hit myself in the mic. Just sorry. Wow, no, that scene just comes out of
And then
nowhere,
they're
Jen.
walking in the sky among the stars to a
This
glowing
picture of
orb, and they're
lights.
wearing red robes. And what is happening? How many
Oh,
were
So, so
involved?
I just when things couldn't get any worse, right? So now all the Wookiees now are in this sort of like, Planet of the Apes-esque like looking chamber, this underground chamber.
hmm hmm
And then this literally creeped me out, right? All of them start grunting. So when that happened, it was like, "Ah, ah," all of
Okay.
them.
dude, it's a
To me,
cult.
this was like the equivalent of like you remember The Exorcist, that moment with the sound of bees and how disorienting that was.
Oh boy.
That's the equivalent to that
Do you
in this movie.
remember in Revenge of the Sith when we're on the Wookiee homeworld and they're
Yeah.
going into battle and they all stand and roar in unison?
Yes.
And it's
Right.
made so well and it's balanced and you hear all these different Wookiee roars and all mixed together in this chorus of battle. This isn't that.
Mm-mm.
this
Nah,
isn't,
it's not.
Mm-mm.
this is
It
not
it
that.
sounds like torture. Like this is the kind of shit that they will play at Guantanamo Bay
It's
to get
it's
you to just
also
speak. You know what I mean?
it's also hilarious to watch Revenge of the Sith, watch all the badass Wookiee warriors, and in the back of my head I'm like, they all dressed up in red robes to celebrate Life Day in a few years. So like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Plot
yeah.
twist.
That's what you do once a
yeah.
year, right?
Here's my thing though. Rewatching it, it dawns on me that maybe the person or persons who came up with the idea of the Snuggie may have actually gotten their idea from Chewie's family in those red robes. Because if you
Oh
watch that
God.
red robes and you think about the Snuggie, it legitimately looks like the same pack of ass.
It does. It does. It does. Yeah.
It's very cultish, though. It's very
Yeah.
cultish.
No,
Very cool.
really, swear to God, it is, right? So later on now, for some unexplained reason now, we see C3PO and R2D2 there, and I talk about, oh well, if we were, Wookiees or humans, what I mean, we could relate to what it is you're enjoying, but what? Nobody asks you your opinion, bro. Come on. And then, and then, and then Leah,
They're
Luke,
singing.
and Han show up, right?
Oh,
Talking about,
God.
yes, we're glad that we're here to celebrate Life Day with you guys, right? And
Leia
then, oh
drips.
my God, Leah. Rest in peace, Carrie Fisher, but Leah, boy. She
She
does
did
this, like,
not
really
hear. She did.
cliched monologue about, power of love overpowering darkness. And then she talk about the tree of life. I was like, oh, this is where Terrence Malick got the idea for his movie, right? And
The
then,
data set.
guys, and this is the moment I dreaded, because I knew
Oh,
about this prior to watching this. Then Leah does the song, the Life Day song,
Data
and
celebrate, yes.
yeah, and I mean, like I say, I love Carrie Fisher to death dread, but that song is just horrible. It is painful. I
horrible.
will give the music a little credit. I do appreciate how they take John Williams' Star Wars theme and work it into the song, but they do it in this real saccharine way now. But I mean, it works, right? Because that's what they're going for. You know what I mean? It's all about swelling the heart and all that kind of stuff, right? But the
We
song is
celebrate.
bad,
It's
and
a day of
Leah's
peace.
face is like, I'm just high out of my mind, and I'm just doing this
Yeah.
because
When
peace and love, man.
when she
And then
was
they just do
when
these
she
these
was
slow dissolves to Han, who really doesn't want to be there, and Chewie, who
Kendall.
does who. I mean, the actor probably sweat inside that suit, and it just
Ugh,
goes on, and it's just
and
so
on.
saccharine,
Like
and
Mm,
it's
when Carrie
disgusting.
Fisher when Carrie Fisher said that she did not remember filming the holiday special, I was like, yeah, I didn't have a doubt in my mind. I not a shred of doubt in my mind when I looked at when I think back to the song and I'm like, nope, yep, absolutely. I don't think I was at this point. I'm more surprised when people do remember filming the holiday special more than anything else at this point. Like, but then my favorite part of this madness is after the song, we
mm,
then have this weird, like David Lynch editing moment where we cut to like Chewbacca's. Remember what I was saying about the Wookiee masks? This
yeah.
is the bit at its worst. Dead-eyed Chewbacca staring into space. Slow fade to some generic footage of scenes from New Hope, and then
Yes. And you
up
hear I forgot the name of the song. The as called it the medal receiving song.
Throne room.
like
The
it's a
right, the throne
Mm,
room music that they play
mm,
near the end of the movie. They're
mm.
like, okay, what is this, like a tribute to Chewbacca? Is this,
like
oh
I
well, this is
I
the
remember
part
that.
that he's going through, the adventures that he went through, and this is where he's at now. But dog, that was over the course of a movie, though. It plays out literally like you're watching the series finale of a TV show, and you're
except
getting the best of moments. Like,
except the rest of the except whatever episodes he's having a flashback to are way better than the one we're watching.
Mm.
Oh no!
It so hides.
It's
yeah,
and then
and
cut,
well,
and then after that we cut to the family, the Wookiee family, all sitting around the table holding hands over some kind of prayer because it was the 70s, and credits.
yes, and I was like, yes, this movie is over. The torture is over. I am so happy. I don't even care what the TV announcers saying about some upcoming show. I could care less. The movie
Oh
is done.
yeah, the TV announcer is just reassuring us that
Next week.
next week, Incredible Hulk and Wonder Woman will play at the regularly scheduled time.
Yeah,
I'm like,
exactly.
Thank God. I'm craving for the slow nothing of Bill Bixby's Hulk right now. Oh, good Lord.
Yes. So
See,
in closing, guys, in closing, right? Yeah, as you know, like it took me a long while to get to this. But I am glad that I suffered through this, right? I'm glad. I really do appreciate it. Maybe one day I'll watch it over, like like UCC. I'll show a friend of mine it, and they just kind of watch my cut. To like, dude, why do you know what I
CC
mean?
is a
Like it's
better
one of
man
those
than I
shows.
am.
It's one of those shows. Yeah, you just have to kind of suffer through it and then show it to your friends so they could suffer too, and they'll just hate you just a little bit more, right? But yeah, this is one. This is hands on one of the worst movies I've ever seen. One of the worst TV specials ever. One of the worst Christmas movies ever made. And let's touch on Christmas beef quickly. Even if the show doesn't want to address Christmas or show it in any way, at least if it's about life, they stick to that theme now. Not have performers come and sing random songs which have nothing to do about life day. Why we have to wait? Why Carrie Fisher has to be the only one to sing about life day in this really saccharine way, right? The show couldn't even commit to what the holiday that's in the title. Like think about that, right? Um but this is one that I'm glad that I saw because I don't
Yeah.
need to see it ever again. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
unless I show it to people. But
But
yeah, you know what I mean. This is like as Ricardo say, like a fascinating time capsule. Now, you know what I mean? Like
It is.
this is what late 70s TV shows
Yeah.
played out as. But as a Star Wars show, I mean, yeah, this deserves to be on YouTube. This does not need to see. This does not need to be released on home media anytime soon unless it's just part of some documentary, criticizing it, right?
the
So,
thing is, if I could just very quickly, the thing that
uh,
I about this though is that because it's in the Star Wars universe, there's always ways, especially now with things like Mandalorian, there are ways to that it finds itself creeping back, and that's how more people are going to eventually find this. So like
Right.
John and the rest of the directors, they always like there's this documentary for Disney Plus, the Disney Gallery, and in it they talk about getting like some of the lesser known characters in the background and all that kind of stuff. So you find now you might actually see a creature or a character that is in there that might have had like one line or one space within the holiday special. Now people are going to see that and be like, because reasons, they're going to see that and want to know who this is. Go back to the holiday special. The holiday special now gets more life. It's a weird thing that even though we try to stomp it out and act like it doesn't exist, I for one try
Yeah.
to act like it doesn't exist. Um, it's still getting more people pulled back into it, and it's still getting continuing a life of its own
It
because
is.
of where it is.
yeah.
For me,
Just when you
Yeah,
thought it was
yeah.
out, it pulls
Every
you back in, right?
Exactly.
any big like franchise fandom type thing always does that, right? Somebody will make some deep cut, and everybody
Yeah.
need to know what the deep cut is, and
Yeah.
you
right?
get all your social woofy points for something like that. And look, dudes like Dave Filoni and John Favreau, well, will do that. They'll do some shit like that because they're super deep cut nerd fans. So sorry to say you're not gonna get away from the the because of Star Wars being so all encompassing and because of the nature of the internet and the cottage industry of
It's
everybody.
not going
The,
away.
yeah, because of the cottage industry of internet fandom and having to write, this article or that article about here's 10 things you saw in the background in Mandalorian last week. That bullshit.
Yes. Oh
Right?
my God.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Exactly. So it's that.
Like
Yeah.
for me, it's I kind of love, like, I know some early internet people when like the internet happened were predicting that the holiday, because like obviously the holiday special thrived as a as this weird cult artifact in the pre-internet days, when it was handed
Yeah.
around on cassette tapes at conventions. And people predicted that as the internet became more of a thing and it kind of lost that mythic status, it might just like fade into obscurity. But
Right.
no,
The
the
opposite
opposite
happened.
has been true.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's as Tracy was saying, like, you're getting all these little acknowledgments and all these little references to it. To date, the animated the animated FET segment is the only piece of this that's ever been officially released because it's available on, and I'm looking at this now, the 2011 Star Wars Complete Saga Blu-ray set
Oh my
includes that
God.
part. Yeah, includes that
Nice.
cartoon as like a little Easter egg. So for me, and like it's infamous. People still have their tapes. There's a couple versions up on YouTube, and someone in the YouTube comments was like, neither Disney nor Lucasfilm was going to take this down because that would mean admitting that they owned it. And at this point, I'm like, you know what? Just lean into it. You know what? Like, the documentary is coming out. Why not just give it an official release? You know that somewhere at Fox or somewhere at Lucasfilm, they have the original masters. They could give this, like, they could actually release this properly, and you could get, like imagine, like, a Star Wars holiday special home video release, right? Where it's like, you could watch the remastered version, the original extended version with all the commercials. You can have interviews with people like Filoni and Favreau talking about it or whatever, and just talk about like how weird it is. Hell, I would throw on, because I know Riff Tracks, the MST3K guys' new show. They did, and it's really hysterical. They did their own like commentary track for the holiday special, and like I'm like lean into that, like throw that on there too. Like come on, like rather than trying to like bury this and pretend it doesn't exist, especially since like we all know it exists now. Now that we have the internet, we all like anyone can go on Wikipedia or IMDb. And fun fact, if you go on B. Arthur's IMDb, this is one of the top things listed, which is
nice.
Which is like up there. Golden Girls, Maude, the Star Wars Holiday Special. It's like right there. Like rather than like now that like Star Wars does thrive on its like self-seriousness and like its mythic status, and we're gonna get into this with the Lego special a little bit, but I think that like it doesn't hurt to make it more widely available and like actually get to like show this for all its like there's kind of an honesty, I think, to releasing it officially. I think because it's actually acknowledging the extent. It's like the Ewok movies are available on DVD. The Ewok and Droids cartoon shows are available on DVD. Like, come on, why not we got the Gendy Tartakovsky animated series. We got the Clone Wars. We got all the movies. We got the Disney era, the prequels. Why not the holiday special? Like, come on.
Yeah, totally agree. But rated wise, just to get it out of the way, this gets a 1 out of 5. Of course, it sucked. But yeah, you know what I mean? If you're curious, I mean, give it a look. If you're just looking to get shit feast for Christmas and just wonder what's up the Star Wars beast, yeah, man, give this a look, man.